So for everybody who's joining us on Facebook, welcome, and our webcast should be up and active as well. There we go, cool. So if you're on the webcast, you could type in the chat window that you're seeing on the webcast. Let me know that we're all connected. That would be awesome. And the phone lines are up and active too. Wow, we have a lot of people today. This is awesome. So for everybody, we have 3 different ways we're interacting with people right now. So I'm going to open up the phone lines, see if anybody wants to say a quick hello where you're calling from. Hi there. Was that Glide Guides that I heard? Okay, so you can actually, hi, for anybody who wants to talk, right now we're on party mode. And then okay, so what we're gonna do is I've muted the phone lines for a minute because we're getting some feedback on them, but you should all be able to hear me, and the webcast is up. Our recording is going. So with that, everyone, let me just close the studio door for a minute here. And so I'm really glad that everybody could join us today. This has been a topic that's we've been getting a lot of questions around, is influencer marketing. So I'm going to dive right in because we've got a lot of content about what it is, how to start with it, some different tools you could use that'll make it a little easier for you. I'm always a fan of easier. And then we'll take some questions too. So it's really a conversation today. I want you to be prepared for that. Definitely keep pen and paper handy if you can, or revisit this on our Facebook page to take some notes, because there's a lot of content and information out right now about influencer marketing, and some of it's better than others. So with that, we're going to dive right in. First off, though, what the heck is influencer marketing, right? When I put this out, we got some questions back going, I'm not even sure what that is. So influencer marketing is all that stuff y'all have wanted to have, like bloggers talking about your product, YouTube videos being done by other people, Facebook posts and Instagram posts. And influencer marketing is related to celebrity endorsement almost. It's kind of like a second cousin to it. And influencer marketing, it has become an extremely big industry. Influencer marketing right now, let's see, where's the stat here? Wow. Wow, this is 94% of the people who are using influencer marketing are saying it's working. It's become an extremely big business. Brands, like really large ones, are spending anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 a year on this. They're expecting it to double this year in terms of what they're investing into it. And you can get campaign prices that are like $25,000 for one campaign with maybe 10 to 12 or 20 influencers in it on up, and it really runs the gamut. So there's a couple things I need to mention here. Influencer marketing is actually coming under some FTC regulation, and this is a big one for you guys to understand, because Lord & Taylor, very well-known brand, right? They asked influencers, they contracted with influencers to all take this one dress that they were putting out and to style it in different Instagram and Pinterest photos and post those and etc. So it's a regulation that the FTC has, says that if there's monetary gain from it, it has to be disclosed. You have to use some hashtags. So here we go. The FTC regulation. The FTC requires that all influencers disclose sponsorship as close to the beginning of the content as possible. Sponsored social media posts must include clear disclosures such as hashtag sponsored or hashtag paid or hashtag ad before any link leading back to the brand's landing page. So here's the gist of the regulation, and then we'll get into the good stuff. The regulation puts it on the manufacturer that you have to make sure that all of the bloggers and everybody who you gift product to, meaning they received monetary value called your product, everybody that you gift product to has to disclose that they were given the product, okay? And the regulation actually is that it's on the manufacturer, meaning you, to make sure that your bloggers know that, understand it, and are doing their best to comply to it. Otherwise, you get fined. Lord & Taylor had a really big lawsuit about this. So just wanted to mention this since we're in the topic. I would highly recommend, if you're going to do influencer marketing, that you get connected to the Word of Mouth Marketing Association. I posted a infographic of theirs in the email that I sent out about this call, and it's on the Facebook page too. So pay attention to them. They're really good about making sure that you're understanding the new regulations. If you don't do this, you can fall under some pretty stiff penalties. There's one agency that contracts with influencers, and they actually got slapped with a fine and an order that all of their marketing campaigns had to be passed through a special level of scrutiny for the next 3 years. So it can be pretty onerous. So there you go. There's the regulation part. Let's talk about some terms, because there's some language related to influencer marketing that you should understand. One of them is IRM, which means Influencer Relationship Management. The other ones are reach. Reach is audience size and how engaged their audience is. And the other one is actually engagement. Engagement is how many posts get liked or shared or commented on. So reach is audience size, and then engagement is actually how active are their followers, okay? Now, a really great statistic is that at this point in time, businesses that invest significantly into social media marketing and into influencer marketing in particular are seeing, for every dollar they put in, they're seeing about $6.50 of revenue come out. Crazy, right? So there are some things to do to get to that, and we'll mention those as well. Let's see, going on to my notes here. First up, I'm going to open up the phone lines and see if everybody's still with me. If you're on the Facebook Live and you're following all this, type a comment in, please. Same thing if you're on the webcast. So for everybody who's on the phone line, is this making sense so far? I opened up the phone line. So you guys following it or have questions so far? Anybody breathing? We've got a whole lot of people on the call. So are you liking the conversation so far? Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to mute everybody's lines, and then I'm going to go pretty quickly through some tools. So definitely grab a pen. You're going to want to get the names of these different platforms, okay? So let's talk a little bit about how you get started. Oh, and I see Maurice is joining on the Facebooks. Great. Oh, Maurice, we've got somebody who's already typed a comment going, I'm going to the Oscars giving out handbags to celebrities in a gifting suite. So he's loving the topic and how to work, wants me to comment on how to work with a gifting suite as we go. Definitely. Okay, so how do you get started with influencer marketing is probably the question that everybody's wondering about, right? You know, because we all want to have our businesses get out there, and really the beauty of influencer marketing is it can, in some respects, replace testimonials or supplement testimonials while you're launching your product, right? Because when you first put it out, you may not have a whole lot of following and you're trying to get eyeballs to your product. That's always the way it works, right? So there's a couple key things to pay attention when you're picking influencers to either hire or send your product to. Number one, you want to look at, are they in your segment? Meaning, if your product is for mommies, are they talking about mommy related things? If your product is a fashion brand like a handbag, are they talking about handbags? Are they respected for what they're saying about them? So you want to look at, are they in your segment? The number of followers in the platform that you want. Meaning, if you want YouTube people, how many followers do they have in YouTube? Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, all the same. You want to look at the number of followers they have. And then actually even equally important is, how engaged are their followers? You know, how are their posts commented on, liked, or shared? Is there a good percentage of that? If they have a lot of followers, that could be great, but they could also have bought those followers. So buying followers can happen. You want people that actually have engaged audiences, okay? So there's some different tools out that will help you with figuring out if somebody has engaged followers, okay? So I'll go over the tools for that in just a sec. So how could you find influencers, right? That's always the thing. Well, how do I find the people that talk about my things? You can search on the platforms you want to use. If you notice somebody who has a lot of followers and they're posting it in Instagram, etc., that's awesome. Some of those people will already be signed up as an influencer on an influencer marketing platform where you can contract with them and do that. Others that may just be getting started are looking for people to give them products to review so that they can build their followers and they can build their portfolio of being an influencer. So that's a good place. You can contact people directly. It's really hard to find the bloggers because it's so spread out. There's millions and millions of bloggers right now. The easiest and fastest way is to probably use a social media influencer platform or an agency. There's definitely some that are more affordable than others. So let me run down a few of those for you. And then we'll talk about what makes this a successful campaign. So tools and platforms. They run the gamut across the board from, there's two basic kinds. Let me just make this understanding clear. There are some of the social influencer platforms that are focused on helping the influencer make money. And then there's others that are more about the marketer of the product doing well and meeting their goals. So there's kind of two different approaches. And you have to understand this is a really early stage method of business. I mean, it's only been around 5 years. Yeah, 5 years for influencer marketing. It grew out of a natural extension of bloggers and people who developed audiences now have all this attention on them and they wanted to find a way to make money from it. So some of the platforms that you could look at using, I'll give you the ones that are for more established businesses first, and then I'll give you a couple options for more startup friendly budgets. So Hyper, which is HYPR, has about 10 million influencer profiles in it. It has social analytics. It's pretty high budget. You know, you're going to need to be investing pretty significantly. And when I say that, it's in the neighborhood of $20,000, $25,000. Julius is another one, Julius. Their pricing varies based on your goals, how many followers you have, what you're doing. So with them, you actually have to contact them and get pricing for your particular project. Tap Influence, really great. They help find the influencers that you want. They also help track the campaigns. A lot of these services help you track the campaigns because I think that's a really important quality for where you are. So we're giving you ones that allow you to do that. Tap Influence is $2,000 a month, but they've said that they're going to drop their price. They haven't given a timeline or how far or anything like that, but $2,000 a month is pretty significant. There's also Upfluence. Upfluence runs about $950 per month, and it allows you to do up to 10,000 searches and have 10,000 influencers. So pretty good. Some of the services have what are called verified influencers, and others it's whatever profiles they want. Upfluence doesn't verify the influencers, it just brings them in. Analytica, which is OnalYtica, runs about $500 a month. It's kind of the granddaddy of this. They've been in it 5 years. Their platform doesn't do as much as some of the other ones, including this next two that I'm going to give you. But they've got some really good analytics in there, and they do a really good job. So Analytica, $500 a month. RevFluence, RevFluence, another one that is about monetizing from the influencers side. You can contact them for their current pricing. And then one that I think is a really startup friendly kind of budget and easy to use is WebFluence, which is WebFluence. And WebFluence runs about $50 a month. So compared to these others, it's like a bargain, right? $50 a month. It allows you to have 10 influencers, and then for every influencer above that, you pay $5 additional per month, okay? So it tracks you, it lets you discover the influencers, use keyword searches, different platform searches, and then it also helps you run the campaigns. Most of these platforms also help make sure that the FTC compliance piece is done. And that's part of the reason that I think it's really a good idea for you, if you're just getting into this, for you to use a platform if you can, okay? If you can't, that's fine. Just know that there's compliance issues and things you should look up. Get connected to the Word of Mouth Marketing Association. They'll be a big help. There's different agencies that focus in different markets. You could look at one called Socialite, which is social, SOCIALYTE. They do a great job. Media Kicks, which is KIX at the end of it. Tapfluence, obviously, I already talked about them. If you're interested in mommy influencers, you've got a group called The Motherhood. So like Neighborhood, only The Motherhood. There's a lot of agencies specializing in this. They run the gamut in pricing though. And I think for your purposes, you're probably going to be looking more towards running some of it yourself, at least in this early stage. So with that, everybody, I'm going to open up the phone lines. If you've got questions on the phones, press *2. That'll raise your hand and let me know that you have a question. If you've got one and you're on the webcast, just type it in the webcast chat box. Awesome. Minnie Bensal, okay, you want to know what was the last one? I'm not sure. Let's see. It was probably WebFluence, WebFluence. They're the ones that are $50 a month, allows you to have 10 influencers, $5 extra for any influencers over that. It allows you to track your campaigns, see the performance results and the metrics and numbers of how your goal is are being met. So we can also talk a little bit about what makes a successful campaign. That's probably a good topic. So if anybody wants to hear about what makes it successful and what you should track, type it somewhere or raise your hand on the phone line. Press *2 to raise your hand, okay? So let's see, we've got a phone call. The number ends in 3341. Hi there, who's this and how can I help you? Hey, hi. No, that's a great question. That's a great question. So, the question is, so people on the Facebook can hear it as well. The question is, when you go to Webfluence, do you get all 10 influencers working for you? Or do you have to pick and choose from the 10? You can have up to 10 working for you. And you can search their database and help discover the influencers. That's one of the beautiful things about the platforms is you can actually search much faster and easier than you ever could with a Google search. And it's for how many do you contract with. So you could look at, 75 and then pick 10 that you like and be working with those, and that would be the $50 a month. Cool? Now, one other point about that is that the monthly subscription is separate from any fee that you have to pay to the influencer directly. So it's for the search platform, the ability to track. But most influencers, you're going to have to pay them separately. The costs can be anywhere from just some free product and some exposure for them, all the way up to Michelle Phan in the cosmetics world gets $6,000 for a tweet, like one tweet. She gets $6,000. She made $5 million a year 2 years ago. So, yeah, some of these have become very, very big deals. Yeah. Crazy, right? Yeah, but you've got everybody from Activision and Microsoft, like all these big players in it. And then you have startup businesses that are trying to get in and use it. So it runs the gamut. Okay. Do you want to hear a little bit about what makes a campaign successful and how to track it? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to mute your line for your privacy, and I'm going to put your hand down, and if something comes up, raise it again. Okay. So, sure. Okay. So I see we've got a couple of votes coming in for, hey, what makes a successful campaign? Okay. Most successful campaigns have at least 12 influencers, maybe 10 working in them. Do not try and have a successful campaign with one influencer picking up your product. It'll be a little lackluster for you, okay? So you really want to get to the point where you have about 10 to 12 working for you. In the large campaigns, like the Lord & Taylor one, I think they had 36 influencers doing this, okay? So that's going to be a bit beyond most people's reach at this point, but you want to make sure that you have well-organized communication. So some of the platforms allow you to track where you are in the conversation with the influencer. Like you go through, you search their database, you discover who you like, then you send a request to them, and it tracks where you've sent the requests. Then it tracks who's replied, and it'll track, did they sign any agreement with you? Do they have the FTC guidelines? Like all of those pieces. And then also they will allow you to give the campaign materials. A lot of campaigns are you giving content guidelines to the influencer, like here's the goal we're trying to reach. We're trying to reach brand engagement, we want sales, whatever it is. And then you give them some creative guidelines, and then they deliver on that. So you get to see the posts that they have, and they actually the platform will help track the conversions to your website visits, etc. So it can be very, very, very helpful. So you want to make sure that your communication is well organized. Even if you are doing it yourself, you want to keep a list of who did you reach out to, when are they supposed to be getting back to you saying yes, they're going to do it, and what kind of post are they doing. Sometimes influencer marketing can include you writing a guest blog on somebody's blog to get out to their followers. Sometimes they're going to post one you wrote already. Other times they're going to write a blog about something. or they're going to take some photos and they're going to post it to particular social media streams. So you want to be really clear with people about that and make sure that that's in place. That will help you track the results and the engagement that you get. Have goals is the other really critical thing in successful campaigns. There's some surprising statistics that the majority of influencer marketing is for brand awareness, buzz, to kind of get some quasi reviews out there. Only about 30%, 34% actually generates sales. So I want you to be really clear about that when you go into this, that it's marketing, it's not necessarily sales. So 34% generates sales. So if you're looking for a lot of reach, still expect that, yes, you'll see a bump in website traffic, but you have to be ready over on your website to have things like retargeting pixels in place. That's a piece of code on your website that allows you to, once someone's been to your website once, it allows you to show them another ad without having to pay the influencer again. Okay, so there's some things to do over on your website before you do the influencer marketing piece that will allow you to maximize it. So I see that we've got Dina on our Facebook Live, so welcome, Dina. So she's asking about what makes it successful and how to track. Make sure that you have tracking pixels on your website, okay? I just mentioned it, but make sure you do that. It will give you the best return on the investment because you can retarget people. And then how to track it. Tracking comes down to likes, shares, engagement, as well as bumps in your traffic. The biggest problem facing influence marketing this year for 2017, the highest priority across the board, about 74%, I think it was, 71% of businesses said their main priority for the year is to figure out how to track their influencer marketing and their ad spend in there, because they're expecting that they're going to double their investment into it because it is being so successful. So they want to actually be able to justify it. So tracking is fuzzy on some hands, in some ways, and great in others. So come up with what your goal is, and then it's the how do you measure things that lead to your goal. So with that, I'm going to go back over to the phone lines, take another question there. Let's see, this is a phone number that ends in 8440. Hi there, who's this? Hi, Joyce. I do. You were doing food and allergy related things, right? Well, what you'd want to do is use, so the question was health bloggers, how do you find them? If you use some of the platforms, you can actually search by interest, as well as what platform the influencer is really active on. So for health concerns, is it for parents? Is it for general adults? Is it children? Like what? In general? Okay. So you probably would want to look at Pinterest, because Pinterest has a lot of recipes going up on it all the time. Food involved people are over on Pinterest, right? It's going to be primarily women there. And so Pinterest could be a great place for you to look. So any of the platforms that are using Pinterest influencers would be good for you. And then you also want to look at the food bloggers and the wellness bloggers. So I know that Webfluence has that ability to look for that interest. And I'm a big fan of using the platforms to look for these kinds of things because, frankly, it's a lot more time effective. You know, if you look at how long it would take you through a Google search to like go read all these blogs and figure out who everybody is, I'd rather do a search in a database of people who have already said that they are open to promoting other people's stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might, because you have influencers that when you're doing a nonprofit, they're just highly aligned to the mission of a nonprofit. So they may do it just because it's the right thing for them to do. There are some bloggers, and yeah, they might do it in exchange. But still, okay, point for everybody. If you are gifting them anything, then that still qualifies that they have to disclose that it was sponsored, okay? So they have to use the hashtag, like # sponsored, okay? Hashtag sponsored, because that qualifies, according to the FTC, as monetary value. Okay, that's the standard that the FTC is using. Did they get monetary value for in exchange for something? Okay. Yes. If it came from a nonprofit, it was still monetary value. Okay. And the things that most of the people on these calls are doing are small enough that they're going to kind of be under the radar a bit, but I'd really like to let you know when you're running into like, oh, there's this compliance issue. Because, there have been things where the FTC ruled that having a sign by the gift bags saying, hey, if you say anything about the products in these gift bags, you have to disclose that it was given to you as a gift. That sign by the gift bag wasn't enough disclosure. There should have been something in the gift bag. Yeah, crazy. And there's a piece I know we've got Maurice listening too, and he was asking about the Oscars gift bag. There is a piece that when it's a celebrity, it's assumed that they're getting monetary gain from it. So there's a standard there, Maurice. I would really recommend you talk to the Word of Mouth Marketing Association about that if you're really concerned. Generally with gift bag suites, it's already taken care of. So, but yeah, it's I would use one of the services to find health-related bloggers. Okay? I think it's your fastest path. And if you use Webfluence, it's pretty cheap. Most of the influencers on there, though, are going to want to be paid. Okay? But you could sign up for Webfluence, see how they do it, right? See how it runs, and then run your program outside of that. And do your searches and do the legwork and the heavy lifting of it. Does that make sense? Yeah, if you don't want to pay the influencers, then you might be in a little more manual labor on it than the platforms would allow. But you could also find all different price points of influencers. Like you may find some that are doing it for just they want to build their portfolio. So that's a tip for everybody. If you find somebody on social media platforms who has a lot of followers, chances are they're already, and they look like they're promoting people's stuff, and you see sponsored or you see ad in their things, they're probably being paid. Well, no, they'll say it. The good ones will actually say, hey, I was given this product in exchange for my honest review. And you'll see people that, they don't always give the most glowing of reviews. They're honest about it. And particularly in the Amazon world, that seems to be happening more, with the Amazon program that is about getting reviews. So, yeah, isn't that crazy? There is a special program that Amazon started doing a little while ago that connects new products with, like you can gift a few pieces of the product to different people that are actively reviewing things. But they're usually pretty honest. We've had clients that have done that, and they've gotten some great reviews, and they've gotten 1 or 2 points of feedback. So, yeah. Does that help you? You're welcome. I'm going to mute your line for your privacy. And if anybody else on the phone line has a question, you can raise your hand by pressing *2. And if you're on the Facebook and you want some more input, let me know there. And then on the webcast, same thing. Type it in the chat window that should be right there. There's Q&As. Let me refresh that. Okay. Oh, great question online. Somebody's asking me for online for the domain URL for Webfluence. You know, I don't have it memorized off the top of my head. You just have to do a search for it. You'll find it. Okay, so there's a webcast question. I have an April Fool's Day joke that will be the centerpiece of my startup's launch. I want the mainstream media to pick it up and be fooled. Low budget for now. However, a really successful campaign could also be a great thing for the influencers agencies. Any recommendations? You know, this one could be a little challenging because there's so much right now about fake news. You know, there's so much language around that. So there's an April Fool's Day joke that's the center of a startup launch that the mainstream media would pick up and be fooled by. It depends on the context of all of that. I would think that this is a way to go a little bit on the guerrilla style of things. I would think press release is probably the right way to start that. If you went, you could look at a service called Thunderclap. And since this is something that is a short, compressed timeline, Thunderclap can be a great way to go. Thunderclap, for anybody who hasn't heard of it, is a service that they help you create a lot of Twitter noise all in one compressed time. And a lot of, when I say Twitter noise, I mean a lot of Twitter tweets and get a lot of people doing something at one point. So Thunderclap could be great for something like this. And it sounds like it's something that's a much shorter lifespan. Okay, so I would look at the Thunderclap thing. And then another question was, since the price varies so much on the platforms, are you getting what you pay for? Well, some of the platforms are more of a self-service than a big agency that is going to do the work for you, okay? So if you're looking for agencies, you can look at these different social media agencies that this is all they do. AKQA, they do Activision's campaigns. They did Call of Duty Advanced Warfare game. Kramer and Crasalt, I can give you that one. These are going to be higher tickets though. Organic Inc. is an agency where, yeah, you're going to get what you pay for, and meaning a lot of impact. VaynerMedia, that's Gary Vaynerchuk's company. You know, I think one of the interesting points with VaynerMedia is that they really encourage people to document your journey, and that's a great message line for startup businesses and for entrepreneurs and for creatives, is to chronicle your journey a little bit. Like, hey, I'm going in, I'm going to talk to my prototyper, and do those kind of social media posts as you go. And then there's another agency called The Media Kitchen. These different agencies have social as one part of the digital side of their businesses. Some of them also stray into more traditional advertising, but they're frankly more expensive. We also have an agency that we've talked to about doing some straight up PR things called Orca, which is ORCA. They have a very startup friendly package. If I remember right, it was like $1,200 for some press releases and things like that. So you can all check them out too. I'll do my best to put together some links and send this out in the next couple of days. Pay attention, it may come from Troy, so watch your email inbox for Troy at Products to Profits, or me as well. So, okay, somebody wants me to, let's see. Oh, you're welcome about the Thunderclap tip. Okay, the agency names. AKQA, so it's just initials, AKQA. Kramer Krasel, I'm not sure how I'm pronouncing the last one. It's CRAMER dash KRASSELT. Organic Inc. is another one. Vayner Media, VAYNER Media. And then the last one was the Media Kitchen. So let's see if there's any, yeah, that's probably best. And remember the motherhood if you're looking for mommy influencers. That's what they specialize in. Okay, let me just see if I can find Webfluence real quick. They might have been purchased or something because somebody's yeah, it looks like maybe, yeah, they might have moved. I'll do my best to research them and find the new link for you guys and send it out. So if you're on the email list, you'll get that from me. It will be this week. We'll send everybody another thing. And if you're on the Facebook Live, get on the email list. We'll put a link up for that. So I'm going to refresh the page on the webcast and go back over to our phone lines. For everybody who's on the phones, you can press *2 to raise your hand. If you have any questions on influencer marketing and how you can harness it, we're going to take 1 or 2 more questions and then we're going to wrap for the day. So the keys to the successful campaigns, somebody is asking me to run through that again. So have more than one influencer. Ideally, you want to aim for about 10, maybe 12. Make sure you have well-defined goals, okay? Social reach, brand awareness, buzz, get reviews, and remember that they do have to mention that it was sponsored. And then sales, and like I said, sales can usually only accounts for about 34% of the goals. So this isn't something where you're looking for an immediate spike in sales activity on your website. You want to track your results and the engagement from the posts and things that get done. Have your communication well organized, and then also make sure that your website is able to capitalize on the traffic. So your shopping cart is ready, optimized, your tracking pixels are in place so you can do retargeting campaigns. All of those pieces should be in place before you launch the influencer campaign, okay? So with that, one more time, last call for questions on the phone line. Press *2 to raise your hand. Last call on the webcast. Wow, we've got a lot of people on the webcast. You're welcome, Brindle. Brindle on the webcast is saying, thank you for the high quality content. You're welcome. You can count on us for that. We are doing our best to make sure that these shows are of value to people, and so I really appreciate you noticing. It takes a lot of work to do these, and for everybody, I would really appreciate the help spreading the word. We're looking to make a difference with about another 400 people on these calls this year, so we want to be at 1,000 by the end of the year. It's been a very closely held goal of mine. And the only way for us to do that really is for you to help us spread it. And by the way, we may do some influencer marketing on it. But really, wait, let's talk about this. Oh, this is an awesome thing. I didn't mention this. Micro-influencers and penetrating particular markets. Oh my gosh, Can't believe I didn't mention this. So how perfect. Brindle, thank you for helping me add this piece. Micro-influencers. Okay, micro-influencers are people like, well, in my world, I'm actually a micro-influencer. I'm an influencer. Clark's Shoes has gifted us with product and things because they wanted to sell more to entrepreneurs, right? So in the entrepreneur space or the product space, I'm an influencer. Micro-influencers are sometimes an easy way for you to go to get into doing influencer marketing. You could look for influencers that are the tightly focused ones, because it's people like that are like the center of influence at the Chamber of Commerce, right, near you. Who are the main centers of influence in the different ponds that you're in? Like, for example, on these shows, we have a few people that are highly engaged with this. They're on every time, or they come on, they comment, they share. So, you know, one of the ways to have influencer marketing is exactly what I just did. I was in the midst of asking you to review these calls on our Facebook page, to send us a testimonial, because that builds third-party credibility that, hey, like Brindle said, we're actually doing high-quality content, right? And that creates an influence sphere for us, okay? So anybody who's in like the Facebook groups that are for entrepreneurship, you know, like used to be Shark Tank Entrepreneurs was a big group. Now they've rebranded it. Any of those Facebook groups, you know, if you could mention these calls in them, if they've got product people in it, I'd love that. That'd be amazing. You would be fabulous. And I love everybody on these calls. So micro influencers are people like you and I who have reach and have influence in specific markets, specific categories. So pay attention to the micro influencers, because usually that kind of influence comes from the heart, and it's not so much transactional where you have to pay for it. It's because people want to contribute, they want to make a difference, okay? So definitely pay attention to micro influencers as well. So with that, I'm going to go back over to the phone line. Any questions over here? Press *2, raise your hand. And back over to the Q&A. Looks like we are complete over there on the webcast chat. Great. Yep. Hello, Doris. We had someone saying hello on our webcast. And Dina Valet over on the Facebook chat is already like tagging people in comments to get them to take a look at this and what we're doing. So thank you very, very much for that. And just before we go here, I want to mention, if you're in the Los Angeles area, we have a great session tomorrow night at our meetup group. It's Pasadena Startup Entrepreneurs Meetup. And we're going to be talking about how to gain momentum and traction and build a movement around your products and your business. I've got a great speaker. His name's Eiji Morishita. He's a great, really, really great guy. He's going to come out at 6:15 at our offices in downtown Pasadena. You're welcome to join us. I would just ask you go RSVP on the Pasadena Startup Entrepreneurs page, or we have another meetup. It's Product Development and Inventions, so based in Pasadena. And with that, I think we are done for today. Anybody have one last question, comment, anything? And I'm going to open up the phone line so y'all can say goodbye and see who's there. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Shelly, I have a contact for you, Shelly. Shelly's one of our clients. They make awesome 3D printers. And Shelly, I have someone who needs a print, so I need to give you a call, okay? Yeah. And Shelly, definitely come tomorrow night or send one of the team if you can. It's going to be really good for you guys. Okay? Yes, we can do tomorrow afternoon. Do you want to actually, you know what, we'll talk offline, but maybe you can come over to the office early, okay? Okay, great. So I'll talk to you tomorrow, and everybody else, thank you again so much. I just get thrilled when I get to do these with you. So suggest topics, okay? Everybody suggest topics. All right? Have a great week, everyone. Bye. So for everybody who's on Facebook, thank you. Dina, I think you're on the live still, and you're welcome. I'm so glad that that this is valuable for you, and yeah, I just love it. And I was thinking of you as we were putting together the content. We're going to actually be taking more content requests. This was one from another client. So if anybody has any requests, let me know. We'll do the content on that too. So thanks. Help spread the word, everybody. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.